Welcome back, everybody, to the Even Your Dynasty show.
We just got breaking news in.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Even Your Dynasty show. I am back today to talk about why Tatsuya Imai is my number one target for the San Francisco Giants to pursue this offseason. Last offseason and last November, I made a video about why I felt Willy Adames should be their number one target. And they ended up signing him, which I thought was pretty cool at the time. Always happy when the guy that you kind of circle is one they go get. And this year, I'm going to try and talk Imai into fruition for the Giants because I feel like he's the guy that they should go get. Last week, I made a video about why I felt, there were four kind of underrated free agents that I felt like the Giants should pursue. I still feel like those are good guys to go pursue in addition to Imai. But as I kind of alluded in that video, they can't be your full, off-season haul that you pull in. The Giants still need to go try and get a splash. They need to go chase a guy with a high ceiling. And this is the guy I think that has a high ceiling for the right price at the right age for the right, all these good things, good fit as far as marketability goes. We're going to kind of dive in on all of that, but I think this is the guy that they should have circled with a red Sharpie and doing everything in their power to try and bring to San Francisco. But before we dive in on that, if you guys do enjoy the content, please do hit that like, hit that subscribe. It's doing great for channel growth. We're trying to get to 2,500 subscribers before opening day. So that's going to be our goal. Keep an eye out for more interviews. I think we're going to skip this week with the holiday, but next week we'll hopefully get back to having some of these prospects on. We've got some good names kind of lined up, some other collabs we're working on, some good stuff there. For those of you that have joined the membership, we're going to have our Blade Tidwell video hopefully get posted Tuesday or Wednesday this week. So keep your eye out on that. We're gonna, there's like 6.5 minutes of highlights for Tidwell for that video. I was cutting highlights for a while, so hopefully you guys enjoy that. And obviously like the merch site, all that stuff is up. So check it out. Appreciate all of you guys. We'll be hopefully doing our live show. We might be skipping it Friday this week. Fortunately, my family's gonna be busy on Friday. I know that, so I probably won't be doing it this week. But I'm gonna still try and get some videos out for everybody. But now jumping right in on Imai. Now, the big reason why, the big draw for me, age. He's 27 years old. He's going to turn 28 on May 9th. So he's going into his age 28 season. You look at the contract projection. I've seen anything from 5 years to 7 years, 15 million a year to 25 million a year or more. So it's hard to know exactly where he's going to fall on that. I would probably err on the side of like 25 million a year, but maybe if you extend it to 7 years, the AAV might not be as much. Obviously they're going to have to pay the posting fee. It's going to be quite a bit of money. Are the Johnsons willing to pay that? Hopefully, but there's no qualifying offer attached. So you're not going to lose international money for him. There's no draft pick. You don't lose a draft pick for signing him like they did with Adamas. So there's a lot of things that are good there. Now, the one big negative, and this is my biggest concern with Imai, it's actually not, it has nothing to do with his stuff and whether or not I think his stuff will play in the major leagues. I'm actually really confident in that, and I'll go into that in a minute. But his size, he's 5'11" and 154 pounds. Um, he's gonna, in my opinion, need to put on a little weight. Now the Giants, Tim Lincecum didn't weigh a lot, was a kind of scrawny guy, but we watched him break down, especially right about this age. So that part's a concern. Now, granted, you look at Imai's delivery and everything, it's not the huge extension, almost overextension, huge, massive stride. And, it ultimately, Timmy's hip got hurt. And I don't think Imai's motion is not that. So I think it's a little more designed to hold up than Timmy's was, but it's definitely a concern. So that's the big, the part that gives you pause. But as far as his stuff goes, I kind of talked about it on the international free agent video I made a couple weeks ago, but I'm going to kind of dive in on it again. As far as his stuff goes, I think he could be highly successful at the major leagues. He's got a very low release. It's lower than 96% of right-handed pitchers in the major leagues. Um, it's only at 5 feet is the release point. The MLB average is 5'8". His fastball averages about 95 miles per hour. It's very flat. They don't love the shape, but I think when you combine the shape with the low release point, if especially if he learns to pitch consistently at the top of the zone, he can be really successful. Then now for the off speed, he's got two big time swing and miss pitches. He's got a wrong way slider that actually breaks arm side, and then he's got a splitter that's got a lot of high spin, vertical, and horizontal movement. Both pitches are big time swing and miss. The slider he actually has really good command on. Now, I've heard mixed things from scouts on this one. Some of them love it and they think like it could really play. A lot of people that have watched it, they're of the opinion that it's just nasty and it can be really effective. But then there's a lot where, there's not a lot to go off with that shape. It's not really viewed as an ideal shape when it comes to a slider. They usually want some horizontal movement glove side. And I kind of wonder, I feel like you see a guy like you Savage who throws an arm side, wrong way slider, and he's having some success, obviously last season. So that maybe that kind of gives some people a little more confidence in it playing. Um, but I do wonder if a team might try and give him like a sweeper or something with more horizontal movement to the glove side, or a cutter, something that they can mix in with his pitch mix. Cause I do think the four seam slider and splitter could really play. So as far as all that goes, I think he's got good stuff. And I look at his ceiling, I see a guy that could potentially be a number two in an MLB rotation. Will he? I mean, who knows? He's coming from Japan. It's a big risk. It's a big unknown. And that might give a lot of people pause. They might look at the risk and go, I don't think the Giants can afford it. But I mean, if we're being honest, every player you acquire in free agency is going to be a big risk. Every pitcher, even the guys that you feel like have a lot of confidence. I mean, look at the Giants when they signed Johnny Cueto. And Cueto was around 30. He was about the age of a lot of these, bigger name free agents. And, he gave him one great year in 2016. Then he was injury prone and had moments where he looked really good. He had a lot of moments where he looked not very good. Very up and down, unfortunately. So even when you sign a guy with his pedigree, you're taking on a huge risk. Barry Zito had a big pedigree when they signed him. That did not work out well until 2012, where he really kind of made up the whole contract in two starts. Um, so it's a risk that I think is worth taking when you look at the age and the overall stuff in the upside. I think it's worth it. Now you go into we're going to transition from that and we're going to take a look at the player, the marketability, all that. And some interesting comments kind of came out from Imai in the last day or two where he alluded to number one, wanting to go somewhere where there's not already a Japanese player. So I think a lot of people rejoiced thinking, hey, maybe the Dodgers aren't going to get this guy. Which I didn't feel like the Dodgers are going to chase him that hard. I feel like they've got bigger needs than starting pitching. With guys like River Ryan and Gavin Stone coming back this or next season, I just don't see that as the top of their needs, and I felt like they're going to be looking elsewhere anyway. But still, nonetheless, it's nice to hear someone make those comments. And you look at the Giants, number one, they don't have a Japanese player. They have they haven't had one since in a long time. I think Nori Aoki might be the last one we've had playing for this team. And prior to that, it might have been Shinjo. It's been a while. So they don't currently have one. Now, does he actually mean that? Who knows? Boris is his agent. We all got to take everything they say with a grain of salt because Boris doesn't do anything by accident. He puts stuff out all the time. I mean, it just take it with a grain of salt. But it is interesting. Giants are in that situation. And then he made another comment about how he didn't really want to play for the Dodgers because his goals are to strike out Otani and to go beat Yamamoto and go beat those guys. And I mean, yes, certainly he might want to go to a team that's probably, possibly closer to contention. Now, that said, if your goal is to beat the Dodgers, then where better to go than their rival and the team that is going to face them four times a year for you. Like, he would have four chances to pitch against them a year, I should say. They'll play him 13 games. But you're going to get to face him every year. and have lots of opportunities to go up against those guys. And I get it. They're a big juggernaut team, but if that's your mindset and that's what you're wanting to do, I think that's as good a place as any to go. And we can all talk about the flaws on the roster and how they've struggled. They've been a mid team for years and yada yada. But I think it's very clear that Buster Posey is cares about winning and is trying to build a winner. So, he went and got Devers, he got Adamas. He's now done the Vitello hire, which we'll see how that plays out. But he's done a lot of moves that indicate that they are trying to move this franchise up into the upper echelon of teams. Now, are his hands tied a little bit by ownership? Perhaps. He's rebuilding the farm system still on what was overall a pretty weak system when he first took over. It was rebounding a little bit, but they're working on rebuilding that still. Um, but this is a team that I think is showing right now that they care about winning, and that could be attractive to a guy like Imai. They have a core in place. They have Devers, they have Chapman, they have Adamas, they have Logan Webb. They have some young play. They have a lot of young talent with potential on the team that is 25, 26 years old that have a chance to really impact this club. So I think it could be attractive destination for Amai. And for the Giants, I mean, they've talked time and time again about how desperately they want to get into the Japanese market and they want to make themselves a destination for these guys, and they want to be they want to be heavily involved there. So I think it makes sense from their perspective to go after him as well. And it's kind of like the perfect storm. So it's almost like it feels like it makes too much sense. You're seeing national writers like Morosi and I think Passon has kind of mentioned the Giants as an option. I've seen a few other, guys that kind of cover the international market, and you're just seeing names, national names talking about how much it makes sense for the Giants to be there. So naturally, they probably won't sign him, but it's just they're getting kind of circled as almost this perfect landing spot for him. So it makes too much sense to me to not do it. Yeah, it's a huge risk, but that's kind of my take. That's my 2 cents on this one. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. If you guys feel like he should be their guy, if you guys have another player that you want as their number one target, maybe it's a trade candidate, maybe it's another free agent. Let me know what you guys think, but appreciate you guys all hanging out. Like I said, I'm going to try and get one more video snuck out this week at some point because of the holiday. I think we're skipping the live show though. And then for the members, you guys will definitely have the Blade Tidwell video getting dropped. And other than that, go Giants. Hope you guys all have a great Thanksgiving. Hope you guys enjoy it with your families. Stay safe and eat lots of food, all the good stuff. Enjoy some football. Hopefully, we're going to have some baseball. Baseball tends to wake up a little bit right after the holiday or a little bit after the holiday. So hopefully we'll finally start getting some good news. Maybe the Giants will announce their coaching staff finally. Feels like we've been waiting on that for a while. But yeah, that's all I got. Hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. Bye.